Chapter 2, Historiography, Indian Tradition. Historiography in the ancient period. Much of the sources of history in the ancient period were available in the form of oral recitations or traditions. These considered and consisted great deeds of ancestors, mythological stories, and social changes. Now, if you see, much of the ancient period of India has been amassed in oral tradition. That means much of the events, stories, and whatever happened was in the form of oral tradition, passing from one generation to another generation in the form of songs or stories or another form of just a message. So nothing much is written. Very few sources are in the form of written or statues or other things. Much of it is in oral tradition. And if you see, these two pictures also show that a guru is teaching his disciple all the things which will be transferred from the disciple later on to his new disciples when the disciple becomes a guru. And so generation after generation, the oral tradition continues. How do we get to know of the past in India? Through inscriptions, artifacts, natural rocks and stone pillars which were found up to the 3rd century BC, then through coins, metals, sculptures, copper plates, etc. from the 1st century Common Era, what do we get to know from all these? Coins, metals, images, sculptures, copper plates, etc. from the 1st century Common Era. We get to know about kings, kingdoms, dynasties, genealogies. Genealogies means from one king to another king, the family line, who comes after him, then after him. The political events during that time, the social events, the society, the life of the people, the culture of the people, how did they live, how did they eat, what celebrations they had, what festivals they had. Then disasters, natural or man-made disasters. Then the climate during that time. What was the climate? What were the things that were available during that time? Ancient literature. Even the ancient literature can be a part of historiography. Epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, they have something to share about the ancient times. As I told you in the previous slides, these are all forms of getting something that was there present in the past. Then we have Puranas, then the Upanishads, the Vedas. All these somewhere spoke of a particular part of the society, religion, culture, tradition, which helps a person to understand how was ancient India. Then we have Buddhist and Jain texts which date back and tell more about the ancient India. And we have accounts by Indian authors. There are various Indian authors who told many things that happened during the ancient period in the form of maybe prose or poems or short stories or songs. Travelogues. Now, what are travelogues? They're accounts of life of people during a particular period or during the ancient period, and it is viewed and narrated by a foreign traveler. That means Europeans and others who came from different parts of the world, they wrote, they spoke, and narrated the experience on books or in literature, telling what they had seen, experienced, the different things of ancient India. Let us take, for example, the clothing of the people, the language of the people, as I told you, the traditions of the people, the culture of the people, what people ate, their festivities, etc. were discussed. Also, biographies become an important source of information. Kings and their dynasties, like for example, we have the 7th century CE Harsha Charit written by Banabhatta. It contained accounts about the life of the king, which showed a realistic picture of the social, political, economic, religious, and cultural life of the kingdom. Historiography in the medieval period. Slowly, from the medieval period, we started getting many written sources. But up to the medieval period, much of the sources were in the form of oral tradition, which was passed from one generation to another generation in the form of maybe speaking, stories, songs, etc. Kalhana, for example, in the 12th century CE, wrote Raj Tarangini on the history of Kashmir. Then, the codes of Muslim rulers were influenced by Arabic and Persian historiography. So many of the Mughals and other rulers who came, they had a lot of influence of the Arabic and Persian form of historiography. Some examples we have, like Zaidun Barani wrote Tariq-e-Firuz. Then Babur wrote Tuzuk-e-Babri. In Tuzuk-e-Babri, Babar mentioned many things that he experienced on his own about the people, the flora and fauna of the place. Flora means the soil, the trees, the plants, the animals. In detail, he wrote. And Abul Fazl wrote the Akbarnama. Bakar. Now, a Bakar is a historical medieval document. It contains eulogies. Eulogy is a speech or piece of writing that praises someone or something highly, typically someone who has just died. It contains about heroes, historical events, battles, lives of great men. We shall now study two forms of Bakar that are quite prominent and known for us. The first one is Sabhasad Bakar. Now, it was written by Krishnaji Anant Sabhasad during the reign of Chhatrapati Raja Ram Maharaj. It is also considered as an important source of information to find out what happened during the rule of Shivaji Maharaj. The next Bakar we have is Bhau Sahibanchi Bakar. Here It consists of the Battle of Panipat, a very detailed description, and it is entitled as Panipatachi Bakar. So this is Bhausahebanchi Bakar. The lesson will be continued. Kindly pay attention to the instructions. Read the textbook up to historiography in the medieval period, that is up to page number 9. Kindly read in detail the would you like to know and do you know sections in the lesson. Thank you.